This is Your Anxiety Toolkit, episode number 179. Welcome to Your Anxiety Toolkit. I'm your host, Kimberley Quinlan. This podcast is fueled by three main goals. The first goal is to provide you with some extra tools to help you manage your anxiety. Second goal, to inspire you. Anxiety doesn't get to decide how you live your life. And number three, and I leave the best for last, is to provide you with one big, fat virtual hug. Because experiencing anxiety ain't easy. If that sounds good to you, let's go. Welcome back, my friends. Hello. Happy Friday. This is when it's released. If you're not listening to this on a Friday, happy whatever day you're listening, happy day. How are you? Take a breath. Where are you? What are you doing? What do you see? What do you smell? It's a beautiful day. Okay. Thank you for being here with me. It is a beautiful day to do hard things, as always. But today we're actually talking about, exactly that. Talking about how to do really hard things in the form of talking about the 8 things you can do to fast track your recovery, right? It could be OCD recovery, it could be health anxiety, panic disorder, eating disorder, whatever it may be. But we're probably going to put a focus today on OCD, mainly because I am getting ready. This is very exciting. So let me go off on a tangent. I'm getting ready to relaunch the free training that we offer twice a year called the 10 Things You Absolutely Need to Know About OCD. It's a free training. We've offered it now for almost 3 years, and I offer it twice a year. Over tens of thousands of people have watched this training. It's quite amazing. And so many people have given me amazing feedback on it. A lot of people have said that this was their first introduction to OCD and their education to OCD. And so I'm just so happy to share this with you. We will be releasing this training again on March 15, so get ready. I will send you all the details when we get there, but for right now, you could just get really excited and you can listen to this episode, which is really, again, talking about not the basics of OCD, even though, a lot of people who've taken that free training said, they go back every time I launch it and rewatch it because it's a really great reboot on these sort of major basic concepts. Today, we're going to talk about bigger concepts like, really looking at treatment and how to fast track it. So let's get started. Before we start, actually, once again, I'm going to ask you for a favor. If you would have a moment and you feel so inclined, please go and leave a review. I am on a massive, what would you call it, effort to get more reviews, not because I need the ego stroke at all, but because I have been told by multiple business people that if you want to help more people and get this free resource out to more people, you do have to have a ton of reviews. And the more reviews you have, the more likely people are to click on the podcast and try it. And my goal is to create really, really good content, but they have to actually click the content to get helped by the content. And so if you could help me with that, that would be amazing. I have offered an incentive. We are having a exciting challenge where we're challenging ourselves to get 1,000 reviews. And once we get 1,000 reviews, I'll be giving away a pair of Beats headphones to one of the lucky reviewers of your color choice as a thank you. So that's there. I would love to have you write a review. All right, let's get into the show. All right, we're talking about the 8 tips to fast track your OCD treatment. Okay, number 1, right? This was actually the number 8th point, but I actually brought it right up to number 1. Number 1, get support. If you are going to do hard things, which you will, because OCD treatment requires you to do many hard things, you will need support. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. I don't know anybody who has OCD, or I don't have enough money for treatment, or I don't know who to ask. And that's why this podcast is here, right? Where this is a free service to help you feel supported. And if listening to this podcast is your form of support, well, I am so grateful and blessed to have that opportunity. But even better than that is to get support by people who are in a similar situation, and it does not have to cost you money, right? It does not have to cost you time. Ideas of getting support for OCD might look like social media accounts. There are so many advocates on social media, Instagram, Facebook. This is a really wonderful way to get support. You might go to OCD Game Changers or the International OCD Foundation, where they have programs and free town halls and fireside chats where you can feel supported because you're in an area of like-minded people. You might join a support group. There are many goals support groups. It's GOALS support group. If you Google it, there are many around the country of the United States where they're free support groups for people. There are online forums. I have a free Facebook group called CBT School Campus, which is a group of the most kindest, supportive people who are also on their journey. So get support. You can't do hard things on your own all the time. You can do them on your own some of the time, but it fast tracks it if you really do have support and people cheering you on. The other thing to remember is you don't have to know someone who has OCD. Find somebody who's also doing something difficult and say, hey, I'm doing a hard thing. You're doing a different hard thing, but I wonder if we could support each other. And most of the time, people are so relieved not to do hard things on their own, right? So get support. Number 2, pace yourself, right? Pace yourself. When you want to fast track your treatment and your recovery, your instincts is to go in great guns. In Australia, we call it great guns. Great guns is like full on going in, giving it your biggest effort, right? And that's good. Great guns is awesome. But you have to pace yourself. You can't sprint a marathon. You'll get into the first mile and you'll collapse. So this is about pacing yourself and having a clear plan. One of the biggest errors I make as a clinician is when I create a treatment plan for my patient or my client, and it's not a good pace, right? It's like not a good beat. If you can't, you can hear me clicking, you can't go really fast and then taper out, right? You lose momentum. So what you want to do is pace yourself at a cadence that feels really right and is doable and is realistic, right? That you can make a part of your daily life, because it's not realistic to do 4 hours today and then 0 hours tomorrow and then 2 hours the next day. Try and find something that you can do a little bit every day. Number 3, give yourself time to be mad, sad, resentful, and have whatever feelings you have about this OCD treatment or this recovery process. You're going to have lots of emotions, and you have to prepare yourself for that. You have to be willing to ride the many emotional waves of recovery. It's not just a matter of sitting down and doing exposures and going about your life. You are going to have to feel all kinds of emotions, and that can be really overwhelming and painful. So give yourself time to have those emotions. Number 4, stop judging yourself for your obsessions and your compulsions. One of the things that is the most demotivating actions we can do is criticize ourselves for where we're at. This isn't a podcast episode about fast tracking. And so this means what slows us down. Looking at what are the things that slow us down so that we can go at the fastest pace possible that is healthy and realistic. And that involves not being critical. Being critical literally does nothing good. It slows you down. It demotivates you. It disempowers you. It makes you feel more secondary emotions. It does no good. And I know you know that. But sometimes we have to remind ourselves that in the moment when we catch ourselves judging ourselves for the thoughts or feelings you're having, or judging ourselves for the compulsions you're doing, is to go, wait, that's not helping. That's not effective. That doesn't get me closer to the goal. Even if I feel that way and it feels true, I am going to catch this and step out because it's not effective. Number 5, uncertainty is key. If you are not being uncertain, you are taking a detour. Think of it like you're on a road and you've got a destination and you're getting there. And every time you go off the road, let's say you're going from A to B, going off the road, going towards C is the equivalent of going to certainty. You want to get off the road of certainty and get back on the road to being uncertain. And you will naturally, whoopsie-daisies, we took a little detour back into certainty land, turn around, do a U-turn, come on back to the road of uncertainty. That is the fastest route to your recovery. Think of it like a GPS. Over the GPS, if you had one in your car, it would be like, please do a U-turn. You have taken the wrong route. You are on the road of certainty. Turn around and proceed to the road of uncertainty. That's how I imagine the GPS lady or man speaking to you when you've gone down that wrong road, right? Again, when you catch yourself, don't beat yourself up. The GPS doesn't go, bad you're a bad person for going on a detour. She just goes, would you please do a U-turn and proceed to the route, right? All right, next point. Stare your fear in the face every day. Learn to play this game. And it is a game. This is talking about sort of like a Reed Wilson approach, who I adore. Reed Wilson's approach is, this is a game. Your job is to accumulate points. Every time you stare fear in the face, you accumulate points. And we want more points. We want to take the points away from OCD. I'll often say to my patients and clients, I want you to accumulate 100 points a day. So let's say if touching, my bike's right in front of me, so I'll say, let's say touching the handlebar of my bike is a 5 out of 10. If I do that, I get 5 points. Good job, I've only got 95 more to get today. If letting myself have certain thoughts, if that's a 9 out of 10, okay, great, now I've got 14 points. I'm getting there, I'm getting closer to my goal. And you could say 50 points if you wanted to start early or easier. You could go to 10 points to start with, that's fine. But learn to stare your fear in the face every day and play the game. We don't want OCD getting and accumulating and racking up all the points because they win. Because when we avoid, OCD gets points. We want to try and prevent OCD from hitting its 100 point mark every day. We want to be like, nope, I'm going to win this game today. All right. Where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, I'm going backwards, like I said. Number 7 is this requires motivation. Treatment requires motivation and fast tracking it requires motivation. Your job is to identify what will happen if you don't play this game and stare fear in the face. Identify what OCD has taken away from you. P.S. Little teaser. Next week's episode is all about motivation. So if you struggle with this, we're going to deep dive into motivation. It's something that I have been asked about so much lately. And so I, of course, scheduled to talk to you about it. So again, the motivation, it does require a ton. And if you want to fast track your treatment, it does require that you kind of get your wheels moving and you don't slow down. And that will require keeping in your mind's eye right in the front, like, I'm doing this hard work because if I don't, OCD will take A, B, and C from me. Now, little side note, and we'll discuss this next week. If that feels a little like pressure or shaming or like guilt tripping on you, we can learn to shift the language around that. And your job, again, is to try not to judge yourself for what it has taken from you in the past. That's a really important piece here. But again, I'll pause there because we'll go through that next week. And drum roll, the final major thing that you have to remember to fast track your treatment. And I did originally have this as number 1, but I'm going to finish with it because it's probably the most important, which is this. Your recovery requires a deep understanding and acceptance of the fact that you cannot control your thoughts. Most people, by the time they come to me, have wasted so much time and so much of their life in a wrestle trying to control their thoughts, right? No judgment there. That is the natural inclination of a human being. But you have to really drop down and recognize that trying to control which thoughts come in and out of your mind is a lose-lose for everybody. The only thing you can control is how you respond to your thoughts, right? Massive, massive point. That is one of the points we do cover in the 10 things you absolutely need to know about OCD training. But I really wanted to bring it up again because it's so important. It's so important. And everyone gets caught in this one, right? So it's just a matter of catching it and going, all right, I'm in a wrestle with my thoughts. I know I can't control my thoughts. And so I'm going to have to try something different. And the only thing you can do differently is to change how you respond. And the answer to that, let me give it to you, is just to do something different. It doesn't, it's basically to go, oh, this is too big. I can't solve this. It's an unsolvable. I'm just going to walk away. It's sort of like, sometimes my son's doing a Lego and he's getting really frustrated because he just can't seem to figure out this next step. And he's getting more upset and he's getting more upset. And now he's sort of ripping at it and pushing at it and things are starting to break apart. And I'll say, whoa, this isn't working. Step away. Let's go do something else. We'll come back later. And so that's really important. Okay. I love you guys. That is the 8 tips I have for you to fast track your OCD treatment. If some of that kind of went too fast and too, much, get ready. We'll do the free training here very soon. I strongly encourage everybody to take it, even if you've taken it again, because I've added a bonus point this time. So really now it's 11 things you have to know. But you'll see that when we get there. All right. I love you so much. Have a wonderful day. It is a beautiful day to do one hard thing. Whether you choose the hard thing or it's naturally happening, that's okay. Just do the hard thing. Be in the hard thing. Give yourself permission for things not to be right and perfect. Okay? I love you. Have a wonderful day. And thank you for listening. Please note that this podcast or any other resources from cbtschool.com should not replace professional mental health care. If you feel you would benefit, please reach out to a provider in your area. Have a wonderful day and thank you for supporting cbtschool.com.